think that came from Bloomberg Economics. They raised their November forecast, which was in about 8%. That's now 9.3% on the back of the factors that you're now looking at on your screens. I think, when you look at these four low base, that's a given. The momentum, that's a given. It's that last bit that probably will give you a little bit of incremental something to trade on, of course, particularly because that is sort of looks outside. And you look at the export numbers. Hong Kong just reported yesterday, 30% pop in Feb. Could be something worth watching, not just China-wise, of course, but all these other economies that do depend on China in terms of demand, Sherry.
Bloomberg Markets co-anchor David Ingles will be watching. A quick check now of the latest business flash headlines. Nike and H&M face potential boycotts in China after raising concern about forced labor in Xinjiang. Shares in both companies fell after online campaigns against the brands emerged on Chinese social media apps. The West has stepped up action against China for alleged human rights abuses of Uyghur Muslims in the region, but Beijing says the accusations are false. A U.S. labor board has ruled that Tesla has repeatedly violated U.S. labor law and must offer to rehire a union activist it had fired. The company must also make CEO Elon Musk delete a tweet from his account in 2018 that the labor board says unlawfully threatened Tesla's employees and their stock options if they chose the union. Tesla has denied any wrongdoing. Boeing will resume deliveries of its 787 Dreamliners this week. It follows a 5-month halt, while mechanics reportedly investigated potential design flaws. The delivery drought weighed on Boeing's bottom line as dozens of planes sat in storage. Air Lease and United Airlines will be among the first recipients once regulators sign off on Boeing's repairs. All right, we are seeing some gains to end out this week of trading here in Asia. This is where we're at. The outperformer are Japanese stocks. We are to Japan pushing higher for a second day after the BOJ Governor Kuroda seemed to kind of go out of his way on Thursday to reassure investors that the BOJ will keep buying shares. We're seeing the Nikkei off the session highs, but up over 1%. The Kospi trading higher by 0.4%. Here in Australia, we're seeing gains of about 0.4% in a third straight day of the rally. Here, New Zealand really the underperformer, off by about 0.2%, with the Kiwi one of the weaker performers against what appears to be a resurgent US dollar. In fact, the RBC saying that dollar strength will continue, so watch out for the implications for emerging markets. Just a reminder, we do have global equities still pretty close to record highs, and this now being driven by still that reflationary pulse as well as the accelerated rollout of COVID vaccines. Well, coming up next, we have an exclusive interview with the Malaysian Finance Minister, Zafrul Abdul Aziz, on the outlook for the recovery and more, plus a discussion on the challenges facing Asian tech and the chips industry. Credit Suisse Head of Global Sector Research, Manish Nigam, joins us. That's just about it for Daybreak Asia. Our markets coverage continues. We're looking ahead to the start of trading in Hong Kong, where Hong Kong stocks look to be at some point of a tipping point, and downside pressure continues when it comes to trading on the mainland. The market opens in Shanghai, Shenzhen and Hong Kong are almost upon us. This is Bloomberg.
Friday, it is 9 a.m. in Beijing and here in Shanghai. Welcome to Bloomberg Markets China Open. I'm Tom McKenzie.
Yep, absolutely. Good morning. We are here. It is Friday. I'm David Ingles, just counting down to the open of trade in the Chinese mainland and here in Hong Kong. Our top stories.
They have an overall goal to become the leading country in the world, the wealthiest country in the world, and the most powerful country in the world. That's not going to happen on my watch.
President Biden promises to outspend China on innovation and infrastructure to prevent it from overtaking the U.S. as the most powerful country in the world.
Meanwhile, Beijing continues to squeeze America's top allies. China says it will sanction individuals and entities in the UK after similar moves on the EU.
From oil and computer chips to instant coffee, the blocked Suez Canal is costing the global economy and its consumers. Now shippers are looking to make expensive detours that could simply just add to the pain.
And we speak exclusively with Malaysia's finance minister after he announced a near $5 billion package to jumpstart the economy. And talking of the economy, I'm sure it is pure coincidence, but Bloomberg Economics coming out with an upgrade to their GDP forecast for China for 2021. 9.3%, David, coming, of course, after that comment from Biden, that commitment that China will not overtake the US as the wealthiest, most powerful country in the world on his watch. That is a reminder from Bloomberg Economics that that commitment will be a challenge. And, of course, many would point to the stimulus in the US as being another catalyst for growth here in China.
Yes, I mean, if you put the two things together, and, one of the factors that Bloomberg Economics did point out, behind that revised forecast was simply a pickup in external demand from the likes, obviously, of the U.S., which remains a major trading partner of the country, among others. We'll talk about Hong Kong, 30% up exports. Equities looking like this. We are doing okay. When you look at China, though, we'll dig through some of these metrics that are indicating still some weakness in that market. Let's change things up, please, and have a look at arguably the bigger story across assets today, and recently has been this pickup in the U.S. dollar. Yeah, a little bit weaker right now, but we did top the 200-day moving average on DXY. We are close to forming, if not already, a golden cross on that one. Weakest level here on dollar onshore China already, in fact, has been reached. And have a look at your 2- and 7-year yields. Auction overnight, 10-year yield in China, 3.19. We've talked about that narrowing premium. And just very quickly here, we talked about this at the top of the show. We're looking at oil, 10-day vol, highest since the middle or even the first half of last year. Gold futures bid a little bit, and of course copper has seen being a little bit on-off for following that massive move we had in the last couple of weeks. All right, so that's the market story for now. Let's get it over to Vonnie Quinn. She's in New York with your first word news. Vonnie.
Good morning, David. Yes, President Biden